Do you want to clear this from the frame?
Sure.
This is what happens when you have a reality producer / mom on your set.
What did you do? What did you do in reality TV?
Well, my last job, and if I ever work again, I'm a showrunner.
You're a showrunner?
I'm fancy.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wait, so like you would pitch shows to...
No, in reality, there are two groups. There are the hired hands. Once the show is greenlit and made, so the person that makes the show, that's the showrunner. And then there are the people that sell the shows. And sometimes the people that sell the shows are also the showrunners. Okay. But frequently and often, there's like the development people and the production people. So there are a lot of people that don't know how to make shows and they just sell. And then they, create a little empire of IP, basically. And
then other people are just like doing the hard stuff? Or doing...
Well, I mean, honestly, the hard stuff. Then they hire a showrunner to come in and poke holes through this idea that the network has bought. And it's like, this doesn't work and this is how we have to fix it. And then you make the show several times, right? You shoot the show and then the person that runs post has to then fix whatever you shot. So it's a lot of levels of fixing, basically, by the time it reaches the viewer.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And I came up through post. So I'm quite used to getting all the footage and this doesn't, there might be like a flaw in the logic. If it's a game show, it's like, oh shit, this doesn't make sense. How do we fix this in post? Fix it in post.
I've heard that expression because most stuff. Here's what's crazy. I went to film school.
Is that the crazy part?
No, I mean, look, I got...
Where'd you go to film school?
I went to NYU.
Talk about fancy.
I know.
I just want some points. I decided to be friends with you before I knew you went to NYU.
I know. Well, now you're going to be back every week.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I went to NYU. The majority of my film experience is very like... It's amateur... people, new people who are writing new ideas. So by the time I got to post, there was often like, we just have to delete this.
What do you mean?
But so then you're talking about like bigger budget stuff. Even on bigger budget stuff, they're still getting to post and going, oh shit.
Oh, every time. Every time. I mean, there's so many layers to this. Every show's different, but okay. First of all, in reality TV, as opposed to scripted, the show really starts to be made in post, meaning we can do anything with the footage, And so even for a cooking show, if we're rolling for a 16-hour day for an episode, we as the post team now have to take 16 hours of footage and find a way to turn that into 40 minutes of compelling TV. It's really hard. It's really hard.
Oh, I think about this all the time. So how many editors are there?
So it depends.
It's like a content farm in China?
No. Well, now I don't. Now it's going to be robots.
No, that's not even a joke anymore. Yeah, it's AI.
Yeah. So, I might have like 8 editors. It depends. Sometimes it's all about them saving money, right? So it depends on the schedule because everybody has this like delivery date and drop date and air date. So if you're working towards that, then they might do 2 editors per episode, which I never like, and no editors like, because you can never fully own the episode, and it just creates more work. So ideally, it's 1 editor per episode.
Yeah.
And then usually 1 editor will get 2 episodes, so the schedule is built out that way. So maybe you'll have 6 episodes, and then sometimes you'll have a finishing or a lead editor, which I personally just like everybody to be great.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, the whole lead editor thing is weird. It's like so often if you rely on that model, they're just fixing stuff. I don't know. It's kind of like, I don't know, is this too in the weeds? Is this boring?
No, my mind is exploding with questions.
Oh, okay.
You said 16 hours of footage.
Yep.
Are they, who's doing that syncing, and is the lead editor going through all that 16 hours?
Okay, so first the AEs sync all the footage, and they have to transcode it, and they have to because, by the way, it's 16 hours of footage. But it's actually more than that, because you've got interviews shooting on one camera. You've got B-roll on another camera, 3 different cameras for B-roll, maybe, and you've got 4 different angles on this chef, 4 different angles on this chef. You've got the GoPros. They're big shows. So, so the AEs have a huge amount of work to do when that footage comes in. So once it's all sunk up, it's on our Avid, and then we can watch it with like 16 cameras going at the same time, and just isolate a camera on our Avid and do that. So to answer your question, so if I'm running post, then I hire story producers, and then story producers are per episode. So every story producer is partnered with an editor, and they'll each get, 2 episodes to do together usually. And the story producer starts about 2 weeks before the editor starts. And the story producer goes through all 16 hours of footage for that episode. And does a string out. Do you know what a string out is?
Yeah.
And
all the clips smashed together in the timeline. That's how I know it.
It's basically soft editing, and the younger the story producer, the more extreme the editing gets. It's almost like, I'm a good editor, and that. But they're doing like L cuts, and it's so funny. But you don't need that. It's really a radio cut. You're giving the editor a story to follow.
You are?
Yeah.
So that's not what I was thinking of a string out. A string out is like, this is your 16 hours, and it's smushed together in a timeline.
No. No, the editor will quit, and that story producer will be fired.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the editor is not going to watch all that footage. Some do, but that's really a waste of their time.
Okay.
Okay. So sorry. So then it's like,
no, don't know.
If it's, so we don't have acts anymore, but before there was streaming, you had like a 5-act or a 6-act episode. And so we still break it down, even though it's on a streaming service. So we kind of pretend it's like act 1, just to chunk it out, so maybe act 1 is, so we put all these cards up on a board, these index cards, and they're scenes, right? So every scene is like 2 to 3 minutes, right? And so an editor's editing like 1 scene per day and an act per week. That's kind of what we go for. And so the story producer has to stay ahead of that, meaning they have to have string outs for each. So they'll take 10 minutes of footage or 20 minutes of footage. It's so hard to explain. Okay. And you do selects first. So you just go through all the footage. That's the most exhausting, annoying, tedious part. And out of that 16 hours, maybe you get like, I don't know, 10 hours, 8 hours of usable footage. Yeah. And then from that, then you have like scenes. And now you usually end up with like 20 minutes of selects per scene. Now you got to get that 20 minutes of selects down to a 3 to 5 minute string out. It's really hard, and tell the story. So it's a lot of negative space storytelling. It's really hard. And it's so interesting when scripted friends of mine come to start working on unscripted. They're like, this is hard. I'm like, I know, it's a lot harder than scripted. I mean, it's different, but.
Well, see, I have, some knowledge of this. I learned Premiere Pro when I was like, I don't even know, 7 or something.
Right.
In the advent of computers, I was using a PC and stuff. But I watch TV. I watch a lot of reality. Actually, reality is my favorite. And I'm always like, dude, like, that's why I'm like, it is a farm of people. It's got to be like a high school worth of people in the post department.
Yes, it's a big department. And they're always trying to cut costs.
Oh, yeah.
Well, so there's a showrunner. There's usually a co-EP. There's... it just depends on the budget. Let's say 8 editors, and 4 story producers, or 4 story producers and 4 editors, but it's like 2 people per episode in some version, in whatever version makes sense scheduling wise.
Yeah.
And then the AEs, it's usually 2 AEs and a post supervisor. Only
2 AEs?
Yeah.
That's rough.
It is rough. They have the hardest, worst jobs. There's a night AE, a day AE.
Is it a round the clock production, post production?
Only for the AEs, but they have shifts. So the night AE takes over, and then the day AE, and it's crazy. So like when we're getting a cut out, the night AE clocks in, and that's who gets our cuts out that night. And then of course there are the hours that we work, which are crazy. And I maybe this is why I haven't worked since July, Joe. I refuse to cave to the slave kind of environment that reality TV is so okay with. It's one of the reasons people love working with me, because I'm like, this is like, it's not going to get better if we stay up till midnight doing that. That's stupid. Keep your people happy. It's just TV. I said this once to a room full of people, and this guy got so upset. I said, guys, just remember, it's just TV. Actually, it's not even TV. It's reality TV. And one of the employees, one of the producers came in. He's like, or he said in the room, he's like, what does that mean? I'm like, nothing. I appreciate my job. And I just like laughed,
You're like, I didn't say that.
Yeah. But the truth is, this wasn't my plan. I was a film executive, and then I became a screenwriter, and I made a living as a screenwriter for a brief moment of time, which was amazing. And then
for scripted?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. And everyone's like, why'd you leave screenwriting? I'm like, you don't leave, you stop getting paid, like it's just whatever. The traction just didn't happen. Things didn't align for me. And I wasn't good enough, if I'm being honest. Then I didn't. Yes. And then a friend of mine, I'm all over the place. Sorry. So just cut me off.
You are this is going to be a 3-hour episode. Like,
well, no, I'm monologuing. I apologize.
This is my whole nut to bust or what, like whatever you want to say. Like, that's not the right thing. But I went to NYU. Like, if my mom was here, she would just go, Julie, like, he was I'm probably like Woody Allen and reincarnated, or like someone that not Woody Allen,
but
like,
don't be the pedophile.
no, like a savant. I'm probably like Orson Welles reincarnated. I'm just show business. I mean, I got the lights and all the shit. I love to talk about this. That's all I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that all okay. I'm trying to help you back with the end here. So I left me, and I'll do it. Yes. As I always tell my subjects when I'm interviewing them, I need to hear the question. You need to say the question, because I'm not going to be in this. They never understand that,
Oh, talent? Like for interviews? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Because I work in ABC PR, and fuck it, I'm saying it. But I worked in PR for a long time before I worked in communications for Disney. And that was a big thing, because some people you tell, hey, you need to re-say the question. And they actually are like, baby, like, I've been doing this before you were a spermatozoa. Like,
right.
I know how to do that. And you're like, oh, okay. But then other people who you would think like not Dolly Parton, but like their age and experience, they would just be like, yeah, they'll answer like, did you like working on the show? And they'll be like, yeah, it was great. I got paid a lot.
Exactly.
And you go, dude, like what?
Yes.
So you never know.
Yes. Do your viewers or listeners need to understand what we're talking about?
About interviewing?
Yeah.
For publicity purposes.
Well, or just interview. Like, because who cares? Anyway.
Well, we said this because you...
I don't even know who I'm talking to.
We said that you were gonna we were gonna edit it, and you were trying to get to a good edit point.
You're right. Okay, here we go. So I'm gonna repeat. I'm gonna give you a top. Ready?
Nice.
Yeah, not a fun top. Not a fun top. Just a work top.
Keep the shirt on, Julie.
Yes, yeah. Trust me. Yeah. You don't want to see these menopausal boobs. They're fine. Okay. They're not. Now I'm distracted by this moment I had at the Skims store. But anyway.
At the what store?
Skims, Kim Kardashian's.
You went there?
Well, I went to the Skims department in Bloomingdale's, and I met a Skimbassador. That's what they call themselves, the sales girls. And she was explaining how this one like bra or whatever is really hot. And I'm like, it's see-through. And she's like, yeah, but like Kim Kardashian wears. And I'm like, Kim Kardashian does not have like southern facing areolas. Like nobody...
Southern facing areolas?
Yeah, it's a new band. We are here to rock you. Okay, there. I got one joke in. Right.
Just one.
Just the tip. So here's the top, Joe. I'm talking to Joe editing this now. So yeah, I was a screenwriter. They stopped paying me. And then a friend of mine who was also, well, not also, I was never a big screenwriter, but I was supporting myself through money I made in writing. So it was lovely. And
that's huge.
Yeah. I sold feature specs and TV specs. And then I tried to, and I'm frustrated. I still don't know. Anyway. Yeah, I couldn't get staffed on TV, and this was before the golden age of TV. So I was kind of looking down on TV. I think that was my mistake. So I refused to like write a spec of like Grey's Anatomy. You know, I just didn't. And I was just young and cocky, and I was like, "What? Why do they need that? Just read the friggin' thing that I sold to Disney. Like, I obviously can write. You know." So yeah.
Well, I know it's funny because like I'm 33 years old, but I feel 105. Like I remember I started at NYU and they were like, oh my God, this is the first year that it's going digital. I've seen digital to move, then I was like all about the idea of an auteur and movies. And then now I'm in the advent of TikTok and trying to create content for that. But for a while you looked down on TV. Like I remember that you looked down.
That's where you ended up if you couldn't hack it in features.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, 33, oh my God, you're so cute. So have you ever spliced film? Have you ever had the joy of splicing film?
Oh, like actual, no. I wouldn't even know what it looked like.
It's amazing.
Do I use kitchen shears?
So satisfying.
Really?
Yeah, it's a little guillotine. There's a name for it. I can't remember it.
Oh, I've seen that on Wikipedia.
Like that's when I was coming up, kid.
Really?
And I worked as a PA on movies, and I loved making runs to the editorial room because they just have like strips of film hanging. Yeah. Okay, you're like, whatever. You're old. So anyway, a friend of mine who was a big produced screenwriter, that well had run dry for him, as it does for so many, for most.
Yeah.
And he said, well, hey, do you want to come work on this reality show? And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, they need writers. I'm like, why would you need a writer for reality? It's reality. He's like, oh, Julie. So I went over there and I remember I was like in a little cubby, and they put my name up like a little placard. I'm like, oh, no. I'm not. I'm just here for very, you know. And then the woman said, that's what they all say. And she walked away.
Oh, jeez.
She was right. That was 10, 15 years ago. So, yes, I never did leave. But
are you still in that cubby?
I'm not in that cubby.
Okay,
no, I've graduated to an office.
Yeah. That's hard.
Yeah.
That is hard.
Yeah. It was humbling.
Yeah.
So
Cubicle life.
Cubicle life was so funny because you fight over things like the overhead lights.
Oh yeah.
There was a woman I threw down with, and
really?
Oh God, yeah, it was pretty funny. And she's like, I can't. I'm like, the lights are going on. I can't see the screen.
You wanted no light.
I can't, frankly, I can't remember which way it was, but it was whatever she wanted. I wanted the opposite. And I felt my way was more important. And
so do you ever was it actually about the light, or was it about this lady that you didn't like? Because I have a lot of that.
Okay. The lady for sure was a bully and had gotten her way with the light for a long time, and was kind of like, what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, now this is happening.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no.
Because I literally couldn't see. So it's like, I'm sorry, your mood's going to be spoiled. I can't see.
Yeah.
And
she threw a temper tantrum and turned red, and
she just, it finally, everybody was just.
Yeah.
Plus, they're short show. You only work on a show and then you leave. So, I mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
why did you stay? Was it a production company?
Sorry, I didn't stay in that cubby for that long. I meant in the business.
Oh, right.
Apologies.
In reality.
In reality, yes. I did stay at that company for a while. It was Pilgrim Entertainment. Anyway, yeah. So I don't know if you know how it's made or if you care, but you just, as a story producer, you're given all this footage, and that was a doc follow. So you probably. You seem, are you like into the Housewives? You're into all the fancy doc shows. What do you like to watch?
I watch a lot of murder and a lot of.
Oh, you're a true crime guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a different. So there's so many different types of unscripted. So that's So that's different. That's like archival footage and recre.
Well, so do you
ask me what you want to ask me?
Well, yeah. I mean, but what show? Like, are you allowed to say like names of shows that you've worked on? Okay, so like, what's a show?
I got tons of stories. What do you want to know? Unfortunately, I didn't work on anything famous. I don't have anything juicy for you. It's not like you have like a Real Housewives producer here.
It's funny because I don't watch Real Housewives because I don't have Bravo, and I'm gay.
I
so
just
people
totally
hate me,
gay profiled you.
I know. Well, everybody else assumes that they quote
Grofiled.
Bravo.
Is that like a gay profile? Grofiled.
Grofiled.
It's not sexy
We're
enough.
gonna put that on a shirt.
Okay.
I think that's the new thing. A hashtag.
Grofile me. Don't grofile me, bro.
Grofiled.
Do you remember Don't Tase Me, Bro?
No, what is that?
Oh my God, it's like the funniest video ever. My son is so embarrassed every time I say that. He's like, don't say that. I'm like, it's one of the funniest videos ever. It was like this white guy, bro, and he's in a church somewhere. You can Google it. You can pull it up on here and put a little thing. Have the
with the little screen.
Yeah, and he goes, "Don't tase me, bro." This guy tases him, and he's like,
"What?"
Yes.
It's not a cop.
I can't remember. It's so old. You want to look right now? Is that what happened?
I'll look it after.
Oh, I didn't know where the hand was going.
Oh, yeah. Well, you never know where those hands are going. But don't tase me, bro.
Yeah.
Wait.
So don't grofile me, bro.
Don't grofile me.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Don't bravo file me.
Okay, so true crime. Okay, so what do you want to ask me? Sorry.
Yeah, like what's a show that you've worked on?
Copy that. Here we go. Yes.
Question mark.
I have worked on a lot of food shows. And the reason I ended up in there is I became a fixer for Netflix, where they brought me in to take over shows that were shot and put together and didn't work. And then I would bring my team in, like the Wrecking Crew, and we'd break every episode open and reinvent it.
Real?
Yeah.
So did you have a production company called The Fixing Crew?
We almost did. And then nobody decided to pay us for it. They're like, no, we'll just keep hiring you. We don't need this. Yeah. So anyway, Barbecue Showdown was one of the shows that we did that for, the very first one. We kind of found the format and the sound and the vibe and everything. Yeah. And then I think, what have we done? 3 seasons of that?
On Netflix, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what else? Snack versus Chef, hilarious show. And I got fixed on that.
What do you mean you got fixed?
I got fixed.
Spayed and neutered?
Exactly.
What do you mean you got fixed?
So I was fixing all these shows for Netflix. I was like their golden child, and they're like, give it to Julie. She'll know what to do with it. Yeah, I was like really feeling myself.
Yeah.
But like everything in Hollywood, what comes around goes around. So then I finally got I don't know, can I say co-show running position? My good friend, Justin Ray Barnes, I was up for the job to show run Snack v Chef, and then she got it, and I was like, that bitch. Now we're like best friends.
That's always how it goes.
Yeah. And, but then they brought me on to EP post, and what they'll do a lot of times with somebody at my level is then they have you in the field while you're shooting and in pre-production to make sure that the field showrunner doesn't create a mess that you then later have to fix.
So there's a field showrunner and a regular
post showrunner.
A post showrunner.
Yeah.
So which one were you? You were the
on that show. I was the post showrunner. I'm typically the post EP.
Post EP.
Yeah, and in fact, the showrunner. Sorry, the showrunner does not like when you say post showrunner. So, okay, fine. The showrunner gets hired. And having been a showrunner now, I think that's fair. The showrunner gets hired. They put together the show and create it and execute it. Yeah. And the executive producer of post then runs it. Mostly because, well, a couple reasons. There are a lot of showrunners who don't have any post experience. So they shoot the show and then they move on.
That's bad, right?
Well, in my opinion, it's bad, which is when I interview for showrunning jobs, I'm like, you should hire somebody with post experience because I'm shooting to edit, and I'm going to shoot the show.
Just make me the showrunner, not the post showrunner. But because then you just know everything.
Correct.
Ever thought of that?
Yes.
But Hollywood doesn't think with their
they
brain.
They favor the field people. And look, there are a lot of blind spots I have as a showrunner that somebody there doesn't have. Like, if you have a ton of money, it does make sense to hire both. If I'm being honest, right?
Okay.
But one of the reasons they do this too is they'll have the field showrunner shoot the show. They don't have the money to keep them on to run post because that's a linear post process as opposed to you get to deliver sooner. So the post producer, the EP is working in tandem as the show is being shot. if that makes sense.
Okay. So that's why you would go to set.
So I go to set. If I see something that we need in post, I'll say something. If I see something I think is going to be problematic in post, I'll say something.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the interviews is where post really runs everything, because the interviews, I mean, sure, sometimes field producers will get really good interviews, but mostly at this point, they used to be called pickups, right? Where you'd do an episode and then we'd figure out what we need somebody to say in an interview, and we'd go back and have them say it.
You are like blowing my mind right now, because I watch so many cooking shows, or like that blowing glass show.
Yeah.
I mean, I even watched the barbecue. I was a fan of that barbecue show.
It's a really good show.
Yeah. And Lyric Lewis from the Groundlings was one of, she was one of my
from the
teachers.
Groundlings?
Yeah.
Oh.
And she,
I
she was
didn't
one of
meet
my,
her. By the time I was on, we just came in and blew the whole show up and put it back together again, season 1. So,
so you made it palatable. You made it entertaining.
we made it great.
You really did, because I
have to give a shout.
It.
No, I know. And Jason Lay, oh my God, the greatest editor on the planet. Like, you could give him any footage and he can make it look like anything. So I brought Jason. He is my security blanket, and the two of us are just incredible partners in crime. And we crafted and created and cracked that show. And then he's got brothers, Paul and John, who are also good friends of mine. So if you get all three of them on, it's amazing.
The Lay's brothers?
Yes, the Lay brothers. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's very hard for me to take a job if Jason's not available. He's so good.
Isn't that so bizarre? Like, but see, like, I feel like I'm talking to one, and I didn't really. I knew that you had worked, but like, I feel like you're very, very experienced. Like, and what I was trying to say is that, like,
no, I get it. We don't know much about each other. Oh,
well, yeah, but like, people get picked, and like, I guess like people that don't work in production just don't get how there's very few diamonds. Like, there's like diamonds, like you could hand a lot of that 16 hours of footage to a lot of editors. And it would just, and I mean, that's literally what your job was.
Yes.
But my point is that, like, yeah, you needed that guy.
Oh,
Jason Lay.
And there are plenty of editors I love as well. But sometimes they're not available. And then you got to like go, okay, I'll try this person. And as a producer, when you get a bad cut in, it's very hard. It's very hard. It's very hard, because it's, God, your stomach drops. You're like, they don't got it. And you can't, there's only so much you can do. Because in reality, unlike scripted, I could edit scripted. Edit scripted easily. I do that with my online content. I could do that.
Yeah. Reality
TV, I mean, I probably could do it at this point, but I'm really not a tech head. There's so much tech stuff I don't know. My sound would be off, and there's so much tech shit.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
But, what was I going to say? Editors. Shit, Joe, where was I going?
No, that you could edit.
Sorry,
scripted.
Here we go. Okay. Unscripted. The editor is the director. The editor is the writer. The editor is the most important person in a reality TV show.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Like, I always tell Jason, and I don't know if he wants to, but I mean, well, it's interesting. If he were to start running posts, he wouldn't be editing then. So it's kind of like, I don't know if he wants to be a post EP, but
post EP. No.
But you also want him click, click, click. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, honestly, I would just. Jason and I have joked, I would love to just do the first episode of every show. Just create the footprint and then mic drop, just peace out.
Like the pilot, and just, yeah.
Because that's the fun
part.
part.
Set the tone.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
You find fun from that. I feel like that's really scary.
It is, but that's like then it's just like telling every editor, do what he did. And when they can't do it.
The mold of
the mold and the format.
The bar for what it should be. Okay.
So Jason is ideally on with me. We always try and carve out as much time budgetarily of just the two of us and one producer as long as possible, because once all the editors come on and the money starts getting made, the train has left the station. So we need to get that first episode as tight as possible and get the executives to sign off on it and the network, and then we can go, okay, this has been blessed, do this.
Yeah.
And then it still never happens, but yes.
What do you mean it still never happens? So
it's
it doesn't
just
get
hard
picked up? Or?
No. It's just hard for some editors can monkey something and some can't. They study his edits. They study. It's like, this is the pacing. This is the style. These are the transitions we're using. This is the music library. Do not go outside of these cues.
Yeah.
Do not go outside of these. Like, Jason and I are just huge music snobs. And if we hear anything that sounds like a reality cue, we're just like,
boom. Or like,
or like plink, 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 plink. Any like editorial, like, whoa, or just like rap, like fake rap shit, hip hop shit. So most of what I do and what he does is we're always searching for new music libraries that sound premium,
So I guess people don't know this, and it's still a question on my part, but like a music library is like it's like pre-cleared.
Oh,
music?
yeah. So music libraries, there are several like big music libraries in town.
APM.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think of other ones. I can't think of them anymore. Jingle Punks, Extreme. So there are a few big libraries that I'm not thinking of. And if anybody from that world's watching right now, they're like, why didn't she mention our company? And they're massive, and they are cues that are created. They have a stable of musicians that create cues with stings, and, they're designed for reality TV. And they're made for that. And it's huge libraries, but it starts to sound really generic because everybody starts to use the same ones. And so if you have the money to get a composer, that's the best one, because then you can go. I was
just going to ask that.
Yeah, but you got to have money for that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound cheap. But some shows are really like, you can just tell like the crescendo, the build was like going to some fight, and I was like, that's too perfect. I mean, I guess it's possible with the right.
No, it really is. You can find anything to fit anything in the music library,
really?
And it's designed for that. So it's like so then a music supervisor comes on, that's the other person. And then they're like, what do you need? And then we tell them all the different genres of music that we need. We need tension cues. We need process cues. We need drama cues. We need moving. We need touching. We need romantic, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then they give you a shit ton of cues and they're all suck. And then you're like, these are horrible. And then they do it again and they do it again. And I think most editors would agree. They spend most of their time finding the music footprint for the show.
Because it's literally like the butter on the casserole or whatever. Like, it's like, what's going to decide whether it flies or it doesn't.
The scene has no value without music. Yeah. And then it can't be too much music if it's wall-to-wall music or if a cue's droning on. So you got to know when to like bring a cue in. You got to know when to sting it out. And
crazy.
That's not something, I mean, I guess you can learn it, but I feel like the editors I love working with, they just know when it's working.
It's a gut.
Yeah. And it's like
comedy. It's a gut.
In the bullshit ones, will just like throw some kind of generic cue. It'll just be like really low in the background. I'm like, you didn't score it. Yeah. Scoring is what we say. Scoring a scene is what takes the most time. So if you don't like the music of an episode and the editor and the executives are like, we need a whole new music pass. Can you do that in a day? No, motherfucker.
Okay. Explain. Sorry. What does that mean?
That means that they don't like the music. So now we got to go back and find all new cues for the episode.
Uh-huh.
And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it really is. And
for the whole
episode.
That's a fuck ton of.
Correct.
You are going to
So when
pay
they're
me
like, do
double
a music pass, I'm like, what do you mean by that? What are we talking about? And then, so this is another problem. The executives will like give a note like that. We're like, no. We need time code. Which cues aren't working for you?
Oh, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
They'll go, when the guy comes in, and you're like, the guy's in the whole show.
They don't even give us that.
They don't?
Just general. I'm like, no, you have to do some more work now. Time code. Give us time code. This code is to what? This time code, this music cue is to what?
Yeah.
And then
or at least say the scene, like the bed scene.
Yes, exactly. So a lot of that is what I do, is chasing. I protect the editors from the executives, and I make the executives feel that they're getting what they want. That's a lot of what you do as the executive producer of Post.
Wow. That is a real thing, because it's almost like church and state in a way.
1,000%.
Like
1,000%.
To me, the production is the church. I think of money as a state, but yeah, it's almost I won't go into dark places with executives, but can I kind of go back just to something, because I got really excited. You said something about the interviews on reality shows.
Yes.
So,
the pickups.
It's called pickups?
Well, go on. Sorry. I feel like I know you're going to ask, but you tell me.
Yeah, no, like you watch a cooking show and the guy's chopping or whatever, and he'll be like, and then in that moment, I was worried because it wasn't a real shallot and I was actually cutting a cucumber. And you go, but he doesn't say in that moment. You know, it's phrased so perfectly. And then I thought to myself, I better cut it extra fine so that it has even sizzle on the pan. And I only had 10 seconds. What is involved? I always look at that and I'm like, these are actors. They hired the best actors in the world because they're so good at like pretending that they're actually in that moment.
Right. That's the producer feeding them the line.
Oh, they feed it?
Yeah.
What? So, okay. What is this? They're feeding the contestant the line of what to say verbatim?
I mean, every show is different. Yeah. Okay, let me approach this in a multi-pronged way. So if I'm running field, right, or if I'm co-piloting field and they're getting interviews, we're watching all day what's happening, and we're all making notes about interesting things that happen throughout the day. Now, the field producer who's been assigned a story or a cast member, right, is noting all these things. And we're saying to them in our little surveillance, that's a really important moment. Let's make sure we get that in interview. That's a really important moment. Let's make sure we get that in interview. And I'm forming the episode in my head right now, knowing what I'm going to need, ideally. So I'm hoping to not need pickups. And pickups mean the episode's now being put together and we don't have the right bite. We don't have the right interview sound up. And so we have to go back and get it. Nobody wants to do pickups. Well, pickups. They're called pickups. Yes.
Pickups. But like in the world of like scripted television, like a pickup is like you go back and shoot. So are you recooking?
No. Only the interview. Only the interview.
Only the interview.
Yeah. And by the way, a cooking show would be different than a doc soap. So let's just talk about a cooking show. A cooking show, usually, if it's an 8-episode competition, it's usually an 8 to 10-day shoot. So that's as real as you're going to get. And that's one thing I love about cooking shows, right? Yeah. So they'll schedule in some interview time. Okay. If a person gets eliminated at the end of the day, then they're going to go in the interview chair the next day because we don't need them on camera. And now we have all the questions ready for them because we've seen what they went through. So that's typically how that works.
Okay. So this is still... We're talking 2 days now. They come back the next day?
They come back the next day and they are told to speak in present tense as if they are on set that day. So, right. So they'll say, and so they'll say, all right, you're chopping up the celery and you cut your finger. How do you feel? And they'll say, I feel sad. They're like, please say the question in your answer. So I was cutting up the celery. No, say it in real time. I'm cutting up the celery and I cut my finger and I'm thinking, oh shit.
The knife just hit my finger.
The knife just hit my finger. Now, the thing that mostly happens with executives at this point is they don't want to hear see and say. That's see and say. It's like, you should be able to shoot this in a way. You want to cut to interviews as little as possible. An interview is a crutch, right?
Okay.
So, but we need them, but they should be very subtle pinning moments, right? Otherwise, the entire scene is just bullshit. It doesn't feel real.
Right.
It's not.
Feels like a narrator.
Exactly. So ideally, you're going to an interview bite and saying something that you're not getting in scene, if that makes sense. I can't really think of a good example, but
like if she cut her finger on the cutting the celery, maybe you get her to be like, and in my headspace, I was like thinking about my mom, or I don't. They always have something
you
really.
Cut to, how could this be happening to me? This is so me, or motherfuck, bleep, you know. But honestly, something like that, you would just like stay in the moment, right?
Yeah.
So there's formal interviews where they're in the chair, and then there are OTFs, and that's on the fly, or ITMs in the moment, and that's really what people want, right? So you're cutting right now, or you're cutting, my field producer's right there. Oh shit. Oh my God, how are you feeling? Oh God, I'm freaking out. This is crazy. I don't know, you know, so now they're in the moment telling you how they feel.
Oh, I hate that. I can't even cook with my boyfriend watching me. I could never.
It's really hard. Most of the day we are yelling in the producer's ears, Have them narrate what they're doing. Have them narrate what they're doing, because we don't want to be reliant upon cutting away to interviews. We want to make sure we have everything explained in scene.
Yeah.
In case, like, you're trying to get as many options as possible. So now we can stay in the moment. And then when the executive's like, do we have an interview that talks about this? Yes, motherfucker. And then you cut to the interview.
Yeah.
Now, we interview these people for a full day, right? Well, sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes it's 3 hours, right? And in that interview, they're getting the whole picture, right? Because you have like the profile of the person, like Joe arrived to Los Angeles and whatever. And so now we need to know who you are, so we get emotionally invested in you, because we're going to have the little intro pods, right? The little like scenes of,
okay.
So if you're watching Great
with
British,
a suitcase, or
you have Great British Bake Off, and it's like so and so has a deaf child at home, and whatever, So it's like, how are we going to get the audience into this person, and how are we going to see the character's strengths and weaknesses track and play out through the cooking show? And that's all been precast. And that's all been precast, right? So when the casting people are casting people, they're looking for interesting stories. So now the executives already know these stories, and we know the stories that they've fallen in love with. So we need to make sure we highlight that in the interview, and we need to follow those stories on the cutting board, as it were. Is this too much, or is this interesting?
It is absolutely not. I mean, it's absolutely too much. But it's mind blowing. Okay, but you said the people who get eliminated from the episode can come back the next day. What about the people who don't get eliminated?
You have to schedule their interviews. Sorry, to your point. Okay. How do we do it on Snack V Chef? Well, worst case scenario. Sorry. No, I just remembered. I haven't worked in a while. So if we do, this is how it goes. Sorry. So you'll do 3 days of, just as an example, 3 days of competition and then 1 day interview to catch up on and do interviews about everything that's happened in the last 3 days.
Okay. So 3 days of shooting, 1 day of interview.
Oh, that's Jason Lay calling me right now.
Oh, you can answer if you have. Can you answer from your watch?
Do you want to get him on the phone? He could actually tell you. You should interview Jason, dude.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I can introduce you to all my reality buds.
Oh, my God.
So 3 days, some people have been eliminated. Some people are still in it, and their stories are really popping. So we want to interview them. So we're going to schedule them on interview day. So interview day is now just the chair and a producer and whatever. And we're doing 3 people in 1 day, if that makes sense. And the interviews you could just lose, just a lot, you get lost in it.
We've probably been talking 3 hours, but it feels like 3 minutes.
Exactly.
Rapid fire questions, and these are dumb. But
no, I love this.
Do they cook on cooking shows?
Oh, yeah.
They're cooking.
They're cooking.
Okay. And then are the judges eating what they cooked?
Okay, that's a very good question. No, and yes.
I knew it was going to be weird. Okay.
So it depends. It's funny because for Barbecue Showdown, my suggestion is, and I don't think it's, I think it's officially not coming back now because TV's over. But yes, Barbecue Showdown. Here's a great example. Sorry, Daniel.
Maybe because people moved on to tofu. Sorry, just it's all about vegan right now.
I don't think so, man. Look at the White House.
That's true. Maybe maybe it's going to be a brisket show next.
Yeah, no, it's true. Oh my God, brisket. Don't get me started on brisket. It's the most boring thing to do an episode about ever.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, you made it interesting.
Yeah, but do you know how hard it is? You put the meat in and you just fucking walk away for 8 hours. People hate working on the brisket episode because there's...
Oh, really?
Yes, because it's
then don't do a brisket episode.
You got to do brisket. It's barbecue.
Just remember this one dude. He was like, "Yeah, I was really worried about my smoker thing because the temperature kept changing, and brisket is all about temperature."
Yeah.
And then he was like, cut to him shots of like he was worried about with the thermometer, and I was like, "That's some producer handiwork right there," because it is just like standing there watching a of smoke.
Exactly. Wait, let me get back to what you're saying. Do the judges eat the real food? Yes, they have to judge it. They are judging the real food. The question is, are you watching them you're not necessarily watching them judge the food they're eating, meaning there are 3 dishes being made. There's the one the chef is making. There's one that culinary, that's another department, culinary is making. So culinary is doing the same dish in the background because they have to do it for beauty shots.
That was the next question.
Yes.
How do they get it on a thing and it's revolving and it's like
That's
a white
the beauty
cyc
shop.
and
That's another department. Cooking shows are huge. So the culinary department does the beauty shot version. And so that goes on the whatever, so that's happening over there. Flies are around it. Then there's the actual version. And if you notice, there are 8 of them. So obviously the chef is not making 8 of them.
No.
So on barbecue, what would happen is they'd bring the judges back off camera and to taste them right away. So they tasted them right away while it was hot. Because Daniel, God love you, Daniel, you made a beautiful show, had such a crazy setup for the tasting, which drove us nuts. Anyway, it just took so long to set up this shot of the judges sitting around the table, and he changed every time. I guess the executives did want it to look different every time, so he got a bit boned that way. So now there's like,
oh my God,
so much downtime while they're lighting the tasting, which is its own scene. So now obviously they can't be eating that cold food.
Literally was my next question.
Yes. So now I'm trying to remember, they may have brought out a third dish at that point, but it doesn't matter who cooked it at that point. They're tasting it for camera, but they've already made up their minds because they already tasted everything off camera.
Okay, so they're not eating the actual food on camera, but they did taste it. So they're pretending that it is the food that the contestant made.
I think they're still eating the contestant made food by the time they're sitting down, but I think it's cold. The point is, all the decisions have already happened.
Right. Okay. So so that's why they seem stacked in a direction sometimes.
Yes.
Or they play with you and they go,
yes,
this is an excellent ganache.
Yes.
And then that person gets eliminated.
Yes. Now, some people, for other shows, are eating it right there. And that's what I was suggesting for barbecue. So we didn't have 2 hours of downtime for the crew, just sitting there staring at an empty fucking whatever monitor. Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Like, they're off screen tasting it. And also, and then we lost a lot of tension. It's like, you want to see them tasting it in real time. You want to see it happening in real time.
You get a real reaction.
Correct.
And I don't know about you, but like I watch like GMA and they taste the food and they're like,
right.
And I'm like, you're hiding a lot right now. Because you know that food is probably cold as a bone. And
yes.
Yeah. Sometimes it even has steams coming out, and I'm like, they put a hot tampon in there. Like, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Well, it's show to show. So just to be clear,
it varies.
It varies.
Gotcha.
I personally would prefer that we had a pre-lit scene for tasting. And so as soon as they go, knives down, we just rush the judges over, sit them down, and they literally bring the thing over and they eat. That would be better scene work. It would be better for the production, for the budget.
Yeah.
But instead, on barbecue, the choice was made to let all the steam out, so to speak. And the judges do immediately go and taste the food, but off camera. And then, there's like an hour of like setting up. And then anyway.
So is there a health supervisor?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
They're always cooking poultry and fish and stuff. And I'm like, those judges don't have an iron stomach. They're not that impenetrable. They are got to get sick sometimes, right? Like, that's probably not even your field at all.
No.
But, I'm always worried they're eating raw chicken.
Well, I think the judges are smart enough. I've noticed they cut into it and they look. They've been around food long enough, you know,
before they bite.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So but there was one chef that was like picking his nose all the time. That was disgusting. Wait, on Snack versus Chef, there was a chef that was constantly picking his nose. It was so friggin' gross. So
in front of everyone?
Well, in between takes, when we were doing interviews with him, I was like, whoa, could not stop picking his nose. It was absolutely disgusting.
Go to your trailer if you have to do that. I mean, like, I picked my nose this morning, but like I did it very in private.
And you're not touching food. I mean, it's disgusting.
No.
Yeah.
You almost want to dip your hands in bleach after you do that. So fast forward to now. Okay. What got you into comedy?
My mom was dying. and she was really mean to me one day. And I was like, I'm going to show her.
Really?
Yes.
Oh my God. So you did it to like prove something? Wait, were you spiting your mom or you were?
Yeah, it was like, it's so funny. It feels so distant now in my memory of what my big plan was. But there was a comedy teacher, excellent comedy teacher, Leslie Wolf. And I had seen friends of mine take her classes for years and perform. And it was just always like, that's something I should do one day. That's something I should do one day. And it's just all of a sudden, like so many years went by. Like, how did I not do that? You know? Yeah. So I was always like reaching out to her. When's your next class? When's your next class? And then I never did it. And then I think something popped up like taking new students. And I was driving back from my mother's Furious. And I'm like, I want to do it. You know, again, I'm in my mind, I'm like, what was I thinking of doing? And they were Zoom classes, which I thought, well, how can that possibly work? But it did. Yeah. I don't know, something shifted in all of our brains, I guess, post-COVID. We're able to get intimate on Zoom, right? It's weird.
We have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone became a performer.
Yes. And so I did that.
We don't move too much anymore.
Yeah. And actually, I did kind of, after I calmed down a little bit, I called her. I was like, you know what? I'm so sorry. I can't afford this right now. I don't know what I was thinking. And I no, like I can't. And she called me and like, I don't know if she was just being a good saleswoman or knew. She said, honestly, I just have a feeling you need to do this. And I'll give you a deal. Don't worry. And she gave me like a crazy deal.
Really?
Yeah. And she was right. I did need to do it. And I did the first class. I was shaking. I was so nervous. I don't know. Just on Zoom, I was trembling.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
And it's a very like emotion-based class, you know, so it was using past trauma as comedy, and it's very healing and therapeutic. It's a pretty intense class and it's amazing. And I mean, I don't even know if I should say that so specifically. It doesn't have to be based on trauma, but that's where I went. And there's a very like free association part of the class. And I was just going on and on telling funny stories about my mom and my view of her, and people were dying laughing and like side DMing me going, oh my God, you've got gold here. You've got gold here. And the whole time thinking, I'm not going to perform. I'm just going to do this class. Yeah. I'm not going to perform. This is crazy, you know? Yeah. And then my mom went into hospice and I was like, fuck, now I need a whole new set. And so, and I was driving out not knowing that hospice doesn't always mean hospice. Do you know this? Like,
no, I do not know.
It was a false hospice start.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she was like, nah, not so fast. But on the way out there, I started to think, well, what can I write about? And it was the greatest gift because I started to write all not mom material. And then I realized I was like larger than those stories and larger than the pain with my mom. And I can exist beyond that. And it was very healthy and healing. And then somehow through doing all that, and I kept it a secret from her and my family that I was doing stand-up. And I just was able to show up for her and forgive her and like be there with her and love her in her final months.
Wow. So she saw you perform?
No.
Oh, she never did?
No.
Oh, wow.
No, that was never going to happen.
So you did do it to spite her in a way?
I think so.
That's so funny.
But I never ended up talking about her on stage.
Oh, you did not? Wow. But you talked about family. What were people DMing you like that was about
my mom. They were loving all those stories. But gotcha. In the end, I said I'm not comfortable doing that. With my luck, somebody will record it. It'll go viral and I'll be disinherited. So we're not doing that.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to hurt her. I just didn't, you know. I still haven't figured out how. I have very funny, interesting material about my mom and her death and our relationship. And I still get too emotional. I tried to do it at the show. It Might Get Dark. And it went well. It went fine. But I'm not ready yet. I'm still, like Lori Kilmartin, the comic, gave me advice because she did incredible stuff about her father. She wrote a book about it. And I said, how did you... I was so crazy. This is a month after my mom died. I said, how do you know when you're ready to do material about your dead parent? And I said, how soon when you were doing it? She said, I was doing it right away. But she also had been doing comedy for some years, you know?
Yeah.
And she said, you can't, if the audience worries about you, it's not going to work. And
that's,
yeah.
You know, I was telling somebody the other day on the podcast, I might have been J. Cole or something, but like, I think I hate, like, one of the things that I hate is when you go to a mic and they awe you.
Aww. Yeah, that joke's not working.
Is that what it means? Or
yes.
Are those people just like...
Joke's not working, in my opinion.
Okay.
You haven't controlled the narrative in that moment.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a few people, is what I would say, that go to certain mics and they...
Well, it depends on the room. It depends on the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes, there's some people that don't understand how to be in an audience.
Yeah. They think it's like a dialogue or like...
Yeah.
They need to fill... Don't you hate the people who need to like fill the gap somehow? It's like, no,
that's heckling.
There's gonna be...
That's what I've learned as a comic, right? It's not just, you suck. It's anything. Like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Go watch Marvelous Miss Maisel or like any episode of Comedy Central, and you will see what stand-up is. And it's a person in front of a microphone, and if they're good, you think that they're talking to you, but you don't say anything back.
Correct.
Like that's the structure. Yes. It's so weird. I'll even ask questions on stage, and I'll be honest, I do comedy with a lot of the same people, so they respond, but I don't want them to respond. It's rhetorical questions. Yeah. I don't know what I got last night. I was like, what's with wire hangers or something? And like people were like, well, they suck. And I was like, no, don't say that. Right. But yeah, the going into family material, I've done some family material, and it's like it's rough. It's hard. I don't know why. And I think it's a lot because I imagine my parents seeing it and I'm just like, do they want me to say this? I still care what they think. I have a good relationship with my parents.
Wow. Why are you doing comedy?
I know. I'm probably not.
No, you are. I shouldn't even joke.
No.
It is interesting, though, that you have a good relationship with your family, because I assume everybody who does comedy is trying to find the love they didn't get as children from a room full of strangers.
Yeah.
But you have
I think what I need the love for is because I didn't get it like in my social life when I was a kid.
Okay.
Yeah. I was like friends with my parents.
Aww.
Maybe I'm saying I'm a mama's. Oh, there's the aw.
No, I mean, I love that. Yeah. Well, you weren't telling a joke.
Huh?
You weren't telling a joke.
Very valid. And we're not at a mic.
No.
So it's allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So your mom never saw you perform. That's crazy.
No, and I this was a little spiteful, I will say, because it's not like we were fully, like, she was still, yeah. So once, it was about a month before she died. We didn't know that at the time, but she was very sick. She had stage 4 lung cancer, so it was always just a matter of time, and she was on some pretty heavy meds by the end for pain. And we were at this restaurant, and I do remember how powerful this felt, She said, "What'd you do this weekend?" I said, "Oh, I performed stand-up comedy." And she went, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do stand-up comedy now." Yeah. And it was like so powerful and probably not nice, right? It was definitely like a little bit of I don't know. It's like interesting. A little bit of a dig. And, but it didn't last long, Joe. My stepfather said, "Wow, you really think you're funny enough for that?" So honestly, it was... Really? And I said, "No, I don't. That's why I do it. I don't think I'm funny enough. So I just get up there and torture people."
Yeah.
And then my mom was so high on painkillers, I don't think she remembered what we were talking about.
Oh, shit. So this is all at one dinner. Huh? You should have said to your stepfather, like, "That's why you're my stepfather." Like, you don't does your mom think you're funny? Or did she think you were funny?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's very vague for me with my mom and my dad. And in fact, most of my family. It's weird because I think that my family sees me in so many different shades of gay that it's just like, this is pretty much all they can see or decipher or try to, I don't know.
Well, were you making jokes in your family growing up? Were you trying to be funny?
No. If anything, I was trying to be serious. Like I was going to film school. Yeah.
Have they seen you perform?
Yeah, they've seen me perform improv comedy.
Improv or improv comedy?
Improv comedy, like improvisation.
Like Groundlings improv?
Yeah.
Well, that's different.
Yeah.
Because improv is horrible.
It's so bad.
I hate improv.
I thought about talking about it to you, and then I was like, like, why did I ever do that?
I'm not a fan of it. I like writing. I like the written word. I don't understand. And then people are like, well, you have to see good improv. I'm like, that's not a thing.
No.
For me.
Yeah.
Like I've gone to the Groundlings when they have the scripted versions. And I'm like, that's great.
Yeah, yeah.
You took time
like
to
a
write
sketch.
it. Yes.
You like sketches.
Yes.
Okay.
I like writing
Yeah.
with a beginning, middle, and end. And control and payoff.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't understand. Yeah. And I don't understand. I mean, from what I can see, improv is just start the trolling of me right now. But I guess improv is just the high wire act of trying to keep going on stage with words. It's so boring to me. It's so uninteresting.
I think it's like massively bad. And then there's like, I don't know, 10 people, 5 people that I've seen do it, and I'm like, oh yeah, they should do it. I don't know. I think that there's certain people that like I'm a fan, like Kristen Wiig. I saw her do improv, and I was like, oh yeah, like I saw her Cooking with Gas at the Groundlings, and I was like, oh yeah, this is like a really hot improv show. But I just think that like,
but was it scripted what she was doing?
No, improv. It was improv.
Like, I guess I think these are hilarious people, and I can't wait to see them do a script. That's what I think. You know what I mean?
Really? So you like a script? Do you watch like a Judd Apatow movie and like when they like riff a little bit or like?
That's different.
Yeah.
Like Curb Your Enthusiasm's great, but there's still a script. There's still a script. They broke the story. Right, they know every character's motivation. They know the arc. They know where it's going. They've figured out the math of the scene. There is a math to storytelling and comedy. And if you haven't taken the time to do it, I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But in between, once you've earned the right to riff, it's fantastic.
Right.
For me.
That's why there is a, well, you know, I have a very strange relationship because I got kicked out of the Groundlings and,
kicked out?
Yeah, that's
you just
another
didn't
part
advance?
of it that's like so weird, huh?
You didn't advance or you got kicked out?
I didn't advance, and I just say I got kicked out because I'm me.
It sounds horrible from everything I've heard. Like the culture and the community, it's really hurt quite a few people's feelings and made them feel less about themselves.
Me.
Yeah.
Too, yeah. It's funny because I just had dinner with one of my best friends the other night, and he's a Sunday company person, so he's like the 0.1% that made it to that level. And to this day, I mean, it's been how many years, and I still just like get a bit of like, why is it like that? It's very, very, it's a microcosm of Hollywood, I guess, but it's also like unnecessarily a popularity contest.
Oh yeah, I've heard it's like major cutthroat.
And stand-up can be, but my experience like is like there's a lot of good people who just like understand like community. We're all in this together. You know that feeling of like, oh, we're all doing this together, and like, yeah, we bomb sometimes and we do great other times, and we wait outside and we don't even get to perform sometimes, and it's a hard knock life.
Well, also it's a solo sport in a community as opposed to improv, which requires
and it is weirdly like cutthroat. And I think that the Groundlings is so, I think it's too famous now. Like
it sounds like that's what happened.
It's made too many famous people.
Yeah.
And so it's so like there's people who are literally, you know, the leads in movies and television shows, and then there's people who they have the same agent, you know, like it's all blah 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 chat about auditions and agents.
And it's a big circle jerk in my opinion. The art form of improv. But
the art form.
Art form. But I do think it's good to make a character. Like the people that then go to Saturday Night Live and are not just performers but writers and have characters. Like I think it's a great lab to create a character and rules of that character in that world. I just don't need to see it as they're figuring it out. It's like, finish it.
Yeah, you want the jokes. You want the script.
Yeah, the hard part.
Do you feel like you have a character in your stand-up? Here, I'll give. You do?
No. I'm saying I give a no.
The context is that I think that you are one of those people, because I feel like I am as well, who just has a natural character, and you go on that stage, and no matter what you do, Julie is fucking funny. Like you.
I love this podcast.
No, but like I wouldn't have asked you to do it if I didn't think you were great. But like,
tell me more, because I'm so curious about who this character is that you. I'm fat. I want to drill down. I want to drill down on this so badly.
I was like thinking, like trying to think of somebody you reminded me of, but it's not even that. Like it's just. You're just you, and I just say all this because character, like people are like, oh, no, you got to do a character, got to be in character on stage. And I'm like, yes and no, sometimes when I try to do anything, that's when I fuck up the most. Right.
Yes. Well, okay. I have so many thoughts.
It probably wasn't even a question. It was like a thesis or something.
No, but it's really interesting to me because I've heard that from other people, which feels nice, but I don't really know what that means. If that makes sense. Yeah. Because I feel like I think it's less of a character and more what is my voice.
Oh, like your voice, like your
my
your
lane.
Perspective. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was just about to say, I think that you also. I'm a big voice person. I think the way that you talk is funny.
Oh, good.
But go on.
Can we go to every show together?
Please. I'm going to come to one of your shows. I've been meaning to.
Well, you just got sleepy. What happened?
I know. I don't know. I get sleepy out of nowhere. I was up at 4 a.m.
Are we done, by the way?
We could be done.
I mean, I could do this all day, but... I
mean, it's up to you.
I just want to go to 7 minutes, the 1 o'clock mic. If you want to come.
Oh, where was it?
Are you supposed to work? What is your life? I don't get it.
I know. I have a weird ass life.
Sounds like you have a great ass life.
I have a cush life.
It's awesome.
I really do. My job lets me work from home on Fridays, and it's a Friday. But I took off today.
Nice.
To do this and go to a spa, so I'm not going to the mic. But
okay, well, you should go to this mic every week. It's the 7 Minutes in Heaven. It's Dana's mic, and it's at the Lyric, and it's 1 to 3 o'clock, and it's amazing. And it's just yeah.
I can go on Fridays at that time, 1 to 3 at the Lyric, and it's Dana's. Okay.
No, it's slotted and it always fills up right away, but they always make space for everyone. So
nice.
Yeah.
And I know you.
It's such a great. It like the muse visits you while you're there. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's magic.
I'm always desperate for like a good mic.
Yep. That one. Okay. Amazing. That's part of my week, and I'm happier every time I do it, and empty when I don't.
What is it called?
7 Minutes of Heaven. So it's 7 minutes. You get a 7 minute set.
Oh, that's really good too.
Yeah. And you don't pay for it. Nope.
You don't pay? Oh my God.
I know.
It's gold.
It is
Next
7
you're going to tell me
minutes
there's
of
like a high
heaven.
definition clip of it. Oh my God.
And they do. There's a guy that films.
Really?
Yeah. You have to pay for the clip.
Maybe I am going.
Yeah.
Oh, you pay for the clip?
You have to pay Lou for the clip. You can film yourself, but his clips look amazing.
Yeah, it's hard to get the good ones.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Lou's amazing. Okay, so persona. Okay, I am aware of that. I know I'm a funny human. You know you're a funny human. Like, I am aware. We know how to read the room, right? We're emotionally intelligent people. So I think so I know I'm always going to be fine on stage in some way or another.
Yeah.
But what is the but I want to say? But I don't feel like I have any good tape. Like, I watch all my shit and I'm like,
that's
you know
why
what I mean?
I just said the thing about the HD clip and you said it was.
No. The quality might be good. I don't like any of my performances. I feel like I'm too loose. I feel like I'm too just relying on.
Oh, too loose?
I don't know. Maybe I have comic dysmorphia.
Do you ever think? Yeah. Well, somebody said that I have that. But like, do you ever think that's why you can't be the post producer on your content, on your
Wait, what do you mean?
Clips? So, okay, I watch a lot of tapes of mine.
Yeah.
I hate them all.
Yeah.
And there's like so many variables, like the lighting's bad on the the funny one, and the good lighting is like nobody showed up to the show, and it sounds like I bombed. So that's just
the audience sound always is a problem. Yes.
You know that I've been literally told to put fake laughter into my clips, and I will not do it.
Guess what? Everybody does. I found out. I'm not doing it, but listen, no, this is really interesting. I just did. Oh God, there's so much to talk about, Joe. I hired a social media person. It's over. I did 3 sessions. I learned a lot. It was really interesting. I was like wanting to know what you kids know. And the best thing that came out of it is like, I know a lot. I'm fine, but I know a lot more now and my page looks better. And I hired them because for the Big D, which we haven't talked about, the divorce show that I do, the singles matchmaking comedy show that I do once a month.
At the West Side
Comedy. At West Side Comedy.
Yeah.
And so I specifically hired them for that, thinking that maybe it could help grow the show. It has. I've learned a lot. We don't need to go down that whole rabbit hole, but I was already going out of pocket to pay somebody to come and film and edit the shows for promotional clips. So it wasn't that much more to just hire this company. So I brought them in to do it. Yeah. This is all to say, they sent me back my set and I was like, you put fake laughter in. It was so weird.
Oh, they did it for you?
I didn't ask them to do it. And I didn't like it. First of all, I could tell.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good thing to do. I think people can tell personally, but I do think we all have to be better about putting a mic in the audience, because there are some times where I'm like, I killed. And then I listen, I'm like, where's the laughter? It's weird. And
the biggest crowd I did was at the mic drop in San Diego, and it was like over 100 people, which is a lot for me. And I ripped. Like, I just went out there and like there was nothing. I forgot stuff and it was still funny. And
I love it.
And then you watch the tape and it's
why is that?
It's just so bad. And then I also go,
I don't know if it ever looks good. It's weird.
Yeah, but I think that like to edit laughter is kind of like the cooking show. If you told me that the judge wasn't actually eating judging the real food, maybe I'm a purist, but I just go, I don't know. I'm not going to do a laugh track like the fucking sitcom on NBC that needs it because
I don't like
the writing is bad. I'm not going to do it. I'd rather just hear silence.
And I'd rather just wait. It's so funny. I'm almost just posting things where I have big laughter now. It doesn't even matter if I love what I'm saying so much, the last thing I posted, the room was hot and I got some really good laughs and they're real. And so that's why I posted it. It's an okay joke, but I think so much of what first, I don't know anything, but I think the clips are about the audience. And I've noticed lately, a lot of people, very accomplished comics are putting jokes up where they're not getting laughs. I'm like, why are you doing that?
Yeah, I don't know. I heard from someone that they do that to like prove that they're famous or something, or prove that I heard that there's like a lot of inside ball, and I kind of don't give a fuck, but
yeah,
like they post it so that other comics see, and there's a factor too of like more. It's not quantity or quality with the algorithm. It's quantity. Well,
that is true. You have to,
So and I just hate all of this. And there's every single fucking waking moment. I don't know how, if you feel this way, it's just like delete everything that I've ever done. Like the best is yet to come. And
1,000%.
There'll be a camera on a tripod with a microphone.
Yes.
We'll get it. It's hard. But what? Okay, so you said you don't have good tape. We're gonna kill you with time, but yeah.
Well, I told you why. If we leave here at 12:30, we're fine.
Okay. I have to text someone, but to see if I can go.
I just feel like I don't. I think I have decent clips like to post. Also, I think it's just ripping the Band-Aid off and just starting to do it more. It's like whatever, just put them up. And I know how to edit those clips now better. I know how to punch in. I know how to tell. I know how to put the clips. I feel pretty confident, and I don't care anymore. And I don't know if this is good or bad, but I'm also starting to perform knowing I'm going to do a joke that I can post, which I think is important.
That was me the other night on Wednesday night.
Yeah. It's a new joke. You got to post it.
Some people said that I was like, why are you standing in one spot so much? I'm like, well, the biggest thing. It's new and well, yeah, you got to stand in one spot. Like if you move too much, it makes editing terrible.
Yes.
Or the video is not even usable because I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to start performing for the
clips. I know, but it's important, I think. It's interesting because I went to a place of comedy the other night. That's all I'm going to say. And I saw some big comics on stage, and it was really interesting and important. And I recommend you do this if you're not doing it enough. I feel like we are all just hanging out with each other a little too much.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting because they didn't do well.
Yeah.
And I saw them take in the audience not liking what they were, not bombing, and they faltered a bit. I'm like, oh my God, they're human too. And it's like we all watch the best of on these things. And then I don't know about you, but if I don't have a good set, then I kill myself afterwards. It's like, okay, this is part of just, do you know what I mean? Like, it's really important for us as comics to go see real comics, whatever you want to call them, but working comics, right?
Yeah.
Paid regulars at these clubs, and see them not do well too. And it just allows us to be kinder to ourselves, you know?
It really does. You're just making, I love Mark Maron. And I mean, I think that one of the biggest inhibitions for me to not go see, I mean, I can go down 15 minutes and see it every single night if I wanted to. It's $70. And so that's one of the big things that I don't, the 2-item minimum, the parking.
But as a comic, you know, you have to start being better about, like, I've started to do this. So you go to, I haven't done this yet, but okay. So basically I think if you go, well, I don't know, but when I go for potluck or when I go for set of the night, now what I do is, I go and I sit in the comic area to watch the comics that are on stage.
Oh, you do that?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's, I mean, I'm so nerdy and rule followery that I always go up to whoever the door guy is. I'm like, can I go? And they're like, sure, man. Yeah. You know, so I don't know if you're supposed to do that or if you're just supposed to walk in. I think most people just pretend they're going to the bathroom but I think the unspoken thing is, yeah, you're a comic. It's cool.
Yeah, I heard just say you're a comic, and then I'm always too bashful. I'm like, I know you need money, and here's $80 million.
No, in fact, once I paid because I was so bashful. I was so, you know, and it was this crazy show. It was at the Improv, and this is how much comedy's struggling right now. The lineup was sick. It was like Steph Tolov, Jay Farrow. I can't remember who else. Just huge comics, right? Yeah. They lowered the price to $5 because it was so empty. They closed the back curtain. It was weird. It wasn't even full, but I paid, and then I'm sitting there, and then I ordered my food like I was supposed to, and Reed Brackenbury, I think is his name, very funny comic who I now know as a friend and or whatever. He came over to take my order, and I said something about being a comic. I don't know what I said or did. And he's like, "Oh, you don't have to order food next time." I'm like, "Oh." Because they all know we're broke, and it's just, you know, it's
they're happy you're there.
Yes,
for that show especially, you're gonna laugh and stuff.
Yeah, and actually, it was the Wednesday night mic, and Rita announced at the end that all the comics could go watch the show for free. That's how desperate they were to get people over there.
Really?
Like, we already bought my $5 ticket. So be less bashful and just do it for the research, because it was really informative. It was so informative and helpful for me as a comic to feel just more confident about the path, you know?
Yeah. I always tell people when I see the main stage shows, I'm like, why do I walk out of there so inspired? Like, I can do this.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like we also intake so much comedy that's rough and raw and new that it can just feel like hitting your head against the wall. I mean, I've been doing stand-up 9 years, which is probably still a baby. And I feel stuck as fuck. But
yeah, everyone I know does. And I don't know the answer. And I guess we can't think about it too much. I mean, we have to think about it a little bit and try and be strategic as much as we can be, but then we have to let it go or else we're going to go crazy. Like, I've seen people who have gone crazy.
Oh yeah. And you kill yourself.
Oh, I feel like, I mean, there's one comic, I'm not going to say their name on camera, But he's just decided to devour himself with frustration and anger and resentment and bitterness. And I feel so bad for him. And it's because he's gotten so consumed with the audition mics and nothing beyond that. And it's like, dude, this is just a part of it.
Yeah.
This is not real.
It's a blip.
It's a blip.
And all shows are a blip. And the more you do it, and when I'm the most mentally healthy, which I'm not always, I mean, I wasn't on Wednesday, I'm like, everything is a blip. Yeah. I could accidentally have my penis out or, whatever the worst is.
Right.
I could cry and pee my pants because I did so bad on stage, and I will still be able to go. I think Tiffany Haddish had that too. She bombed so bad in Miami that like it hit the press that she had bombed in Miami, and then someone called her and was like, that just means you're famous, and like you're gonna go to the next gig. Like there's always gonna be another gig. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna always do comedy. Like the only person that's gonna stop you is you.
It's you. Exactly.
That's why I love it.
I hope you end on that. That's why I love it. All right, let's go to a mic.
All right, hell yeah. Let's have microphones that are plugged into something.